Welcome back to the Big CEO podcast by yours truly, Big CEO Z, aka your bestie. I'm so excited and I'm so grateful. I'm smiling ear to ear that we are on the 8th episode. We are here, y'all. I can't believe it. Like, I'm literally lost for words. So grateful, so grateful. I'm so glad I stepped out on faith. And even though it might not have all the glitz and glam in the numbers yet, I'm still producing, I'm still executing and evolving. And I'm grateful for each listener. I'm grateful for each person. I'm grateful for each individual that's taken the time to say a kind word, encouragement. Let me know what you need prayer for and trusting me with that. Know that I see you all. I love you all. I'm grateful for each of you. And I pray for my community. I pray over my listener. I pray over the people that interact with me. I pray over the person that has not even met me, heard my voice, or seen me before. And what I mean by that is before I produce or before I put something out there, before I create, before I publish, I pray over it. I pray before it. And I acknowledge the fact that we all have our own lives. But you're allowing me into yours. You're taking what applies. You're leaving what doesn't. And I'm hoping that with everything that I do, it points you back to the source. It points you back to God. It points you back to yourself. Like, it points you back to becoming who you know you can be. And tonight, honestly, y'all, I'm like yapping a little bit, but I almost didn't record. I've been feeling really discouraged lately, if I'm being completely honest. Seeing how other people grow and wondering if my own work will ever pay off. Will my efforts will ever reap a harvest? I might not be alone with that feeling, with my podcast and personal training. Just, my effort, it matters, but what do I really have to show for it? I think we all reach that point in life where we're thinking, what do I have to show for where I am at today? Because comparison, is everywhere. And comparison is really the thief of all joy. And we live in a social media field. We live in a artificial kind of concept world we're evolving into in a lot of ways, with the ways that we can get surgeries, AI, amongst other things. And it's hard. It's hard to filter. It's hard to feel. It's hard to be. It's hard to exist at times. But I realized so much of our stress, our comparison, and even our discouragement comes from taking things personally. And that's what I want to talk about today with you. How to protect your peace and live freely by not taking everything personally. I'm going to break this down into 3 major points. I didn't want this podcast to be super, long, because I really want my listeners to be able to grasp these thoughts and take them with you and apply them, because I believe that with taking these points and applying them to your life, you will step into another dimension of freedom in your everyday life. In your life, just because it's small or it feels small doesn't mean that it's insignificant. You matter. You're here for a reason, and you're here for a season. So keep those things in mind. My first point is, most things aren't about you. I know, that's crazy. What do you mean it's not about me? My whole life is about me. Yeah, when we were younger, let me just take a moment. when we were younger, like let's say maybe ages K through 5, so to speak. I won't go behind that or any further than that. At that time of our lives, we have a very egocentric way of thinking. We think everything is about us. We think that, if Jimmy hit me, he doesn't like me. No, Jimmy could actually be dealing with some things at home, and he's taking it out on you because Jimmy doesn't like what he has to go through every day. But that does not mean that he doesn't like you. That's a small example, but I'm just letting you know it's okay to grow. It's okay to change. It's okay to throw away an old way of thinking and step into a new way of thinking. And I believe we have to, I probably have said this before, we have to rewrite and rewire our mind and our morals and our values and our character integrity periodically, but especially after we're on our own, like in life. As a child, you thought as a child, but now that you are not, you have to learn to think differently. And you can't think that all things are about you, because they're not. Most of your day is not necessarily about you. Think about it. You're driving, you're just relaxing. Let's say you have your windows down, you're enjoying your ride home or your commute or whatever you have it. You left work early, or you leaving home early, or you're just taking your time. And then someone else is driving slowly. And as you pass them, they assume that you're trying to race them, and they get annoyed and maybe even cut you off to the point that you almost hit them. But here's the truth. None of that was about you. Like literally none of that goes on, especially out there on the road in the highway. Baby, it's not personal. Stop taking everything personal. Stop going and cutting that person off because they cut you off. At some point, you have to put away the old way of being, and recognize that we are all dots that make up the world. However, each dot is not more or less significant than the other. I have to break it to you. Oftentimes in systems like at work, church, in the household, whatever you have it, one person is seen to be ranked higher than the other or more than the other. I'm here to tell you today, like, that might be the case when you there in them places, but when you get back to your own life, there is no ranking to real world. When them people, them same VPs and all these other people in high positions step out of that job, they are then, like, unless they maybe have a huge network or something and they're just like known for something, they're still regular. Them celebrities, they're regular. I'm sorry. We all use the bathroom. We all drink water. We have to live. We all eat foods, fruits, regular. Some of us are just in different periods of life. Some of us are living different qualities of life. Different, like they have the middle class, high class, whatever you have it. They try to group us and divide us more and more in this world, when really in all actuality, we are all equal. We all have an expiration date. We all don't know that expiration date. We could be estimately told the expiration date, but we really don't know until it happens. Okay? Because we all know cases where people have went over the expiration or not even met it. So at the end of the day, none of it is about you most of the time. You are literally probably just driving, minding your own business, enjoying the weather, and someone sees you doing that. And because they have a mindset of what I'm trying to help you break out of and have a different outlook of, they think, oh, look at that person thinking they this and that, or look at them, oh, this and that and that. It's not even that. Because you're making someone in their car and they're enjoying their day about the fact, oh, they know they got a nice car. They know they, no, maybe some people just enjoy life. Maybe that's why they have the nice thing. Because they had to restructure their life in a certain way so they're not so like high end risque to just throw it all away in a flip of a dime, you know? Because with driving a certain kind of way, it's costly. Have you noticed? Like, I've never really seen a G Wagon race. Maybe you have, but I haven't. That's one of my dream cars. Don't say nothing. Like, I've never seen that happen. I've never seen him race. I've just usually see them just casually just driving. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I wouldn't want to really drive too fast either with all these crazy people around. I've never seen a Tesla on the side of the road. I've never seen a Tesla in an accident. I'm sure it happens, but I've just never seen it. And sometimes we can become blind to what we don't see or what we don't know. But I'm still feeling like it's just not for you to take it personally, even if you do see someone just like living life. I mean, it's the same online or like I said, just in regular life. Like, if someone disagrees with you, ignores you, or says something that stings, or just we've all experienced that. Like, oh, that touched my chest. That touched my heart. It doesn't mean it's actually about you. I've learned that even in my friendships and relationships, fallouts or just disconnecting or things ending badly or things ending a certain way, it's like, man, you have a whole people have a let me say it this way, people have a whole nother life that you know nothing about, because you're not living in that person's head. You don't know what's going on. So by that man treating you this way all of a sudden, or your kids acting a certain way, you don't know what's going on. You know by what they tell you and what they show you. Nothing else do you know. You don't know the inner parts of them. And it's not for you to know. That's the beauty of your life, and that's what I'm trying to like teach you today, is like, there's beauty in living your life for you and not for other people. Because a person that takes everything personally, like, you got to be living on a tight string rope or something, because you run around all day like a ticking time bomb, don't know when it's gonna go off. And what kind of life is that? Like, you got to constantly be on edge. Somebody say something you don't like, you got to go after them. You in their comments, going off, talking to yourself. I mean, come on. Let's take a look in the mirror. And like it says in the word of God, how can you try to pull the speck out of your neighbor's eye, but then you got a whole log in your own eye? That makes no sense. And I believe that it's directly correlated with the way that people feel about themselves, think about themselves in their day-to-day, and how people take things. Like, you take someone having a different opinion of you as, oh, that's a personal attack. I don't like you. I don't like the way you think. That's one situation, one thing that they shared that didn't correlate with you. Okay, move on. It's not always that easy, but I'm just breaking it down in things that just would make sense to anyone who's listening to this. I mean, it's not automatically about you. Bottom line. Most reactions are projections, emotions, or personal circumstances of other people. They're literally like mirroring themselves to you. And that's why you get these feelings of like these words that we've made, like getting gaslit or gaslighting. Because someone is literally telling you stuff, and it's based upon like a bias or something going on in their head that you don't even know about, but that's all you got to go based upon. And then you're living your life on edge because that person said this or that or did this or that to you, and now you're thinking, oh, it's me, I'm messed up. Sometimes we do need to take a good look in the mirror, like I'm saying with the other people. Like, sometimes other people need to take a look in the mirror, and sometimes we need to take a look in the mirror, and there's nothing wrong with that. By reflecting, taking inventory, you ain't got to pass judgment on yourself or other people, but you got to know what you're going to kind of allow into your mind and what you're going to guard your mind from, right? And I like I said, I believe that also is directly correlated to not taking things personally. Understanding that most things aren't about you. But at the same time, when we start taking everything personally, we make the world feel smaller. We have like this crabs in a bucket mentality about the world and about people. When you take everything personal, you make everything about you. We start assuming the worst, and we lose peace over things that don't even belong to us. I mean, come on. How that person living their life, unless they're your child, I'm sorry, but that's on them. That's on them. Some people have to learn for themselves. And I also believe that, if you do believe in a higher power and you believe in God, because I know everyone who listens to me may or may not, so that's why I'm saying it the way I am. But for me, I feel as though it's not my job as a messenger to condemn you or judge you or convict you. I believe that is the work of the Holy Spirit that comes upon you and lets you know, like, oh yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I need to stop or start doing. And it takes people being the hands and feet, just like when you go to church. It shouldn't be anybody up there, and I'm no pastor, but it shouldn't be anybody up there pushing some agenda at you, but more so positioning a map or layout or perspective of how your life could be if you look at it this way, or if you take yourself out of yourself and you kind of look at your life. And the world starts to look very different when we do those things. And the point number 2, taking things personally steals your peace. Because I know I spent some time, I'm sorry y'all, I kind of blanked out. I spent a lot of time on point number 1 because I just felt that in my heart. But point number 2, taking things personally steals your peace. This is kind of coincides with a lot of what I probably already said, but that was a point that I wrote down, and I'm going to speak a little bit about that. When we see someone else succeeding, it's easy for you just to think, why not me? Or why is everyone noticing them but not me? Or why I'm not seeing any harvest of all the seeds I've been planting. It's very easy to give up in the beginning stages of anything because you don't see anything coming out of it. But as we've seen with a lot of motivational speakers and other people, they tell us themselves, like, listen, I literally started out just like you with zero, with nothing. And now look where I'm at. Now I'm living my life. That's possible for you too. However, it's always easy to compare. It's easier to compare than not. Because that's automatically just our brains. Like, that's just how we're wired up for some reason. We look around and we don't see beauty. We see what we're not, And that's just comparison sneaking in. And it feeds on things like taking things personally. And something? Your worth isn't measured by likes, numbers, or someone else's attention, babe. It's just not. Your worth is in your effort, your integrity, the way you show up. You are worthy. And you're just being yourself, just being. You're worthy. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of peace. You're worthy of joy. You're worthy of being healthy, prosperous. You are worthy. You still got to do the work and be strong. But you're worthy as you are today. I'm here to tell you that today. It's in the way that you show up. And that speaks volumes over any number on your profile or any ranking in your job. It speaks volumes for itself, how you live your life. And people see that. I see you. But, it's a big thing that comparison is the thief of all joy. We've always heard that. And it's so true. As I've gotten older, I really see how real that is. Oftentimes, people are envious and jealous because they taking your life personal and making it about them and what they see, like as I've spoken on before, what they are not, instead of seeing what they could be or being inspired and encouraging you on your journey, because you're trying to be a model for what is a possibility of if I don't give up, you know? And taking things personally is just comparison's partner in crime, basically, is what I'm getting at here. Gonna move on because I didn't want this episode to be super long. But point number 3, freedom comes from detachment. I have to share this one with you because it's so empowering. I hope that you leave with this podcast feeling like I can now live my life so different because I'm not going to take things personally. Because there's so much freedom that comes from detaching from all these things, people, and all this stuff of the world. The most powerful thing that you can do is take what serves you and leave the rest. Listen, learn, grow, explore, but don't internalize every opinion, not even every reaction, and definitely not every comment. Because you, baby, you deserve to live freely. You deserve peace. And peace starts with realizing it's not always about you. There's freedom in that. Detach, protect your mind, protect your heart, protect your joy, and watch how your whole world will open up and do a whole 360 when you stop reacting to every little thing and taking things so personal. If you can take one thing from this podcast, let it be this. Don't take everything personally. Keep what serves you, leave the rest, and protect your peace. Because your life is yours, it's not anyone else's. Your joy is yours, and your freedom starts the moment you stop making everything about you. I appreciate you for being here with me. Thank you for seeing it through with the pauses and just kind of just being in awe of like really how freeing it is to break down, not taking things personal. If this podcast resonated with you, please share it with someone who also might need a perspective shift changer, And remember, the world isn't always against you. Sometimes it's just life happening. My peace be with you, my friends. Lots of love and light sent your way. Until next time, Big COZ.